Welcome to a special edition episode of KnightChat, First on Air, your go-to podcast for everything FIRST robotics related and more. I'm your host Chandra, and today's topic is Fantom on the field. Now, the reason why today's episode is a little special is because this episode was actually recorded at the University of Vermont qualifier that 195 competed in this past weekend. Unfortunately, I was not at this event, so today you're going to get a little break from hearing my voice. Here with me today is the person that actually did the interview, Arshi.
Hi guys, I'm Arshi Roy. I'm a junior on 195 and I'm part of the mechanical and business sub-team.
All right, thank you for being here with us today, Arshi. We're going to go ahead and play the clips from Fantom on the Field. Enjoy the special edition episode.
Hi everyone, I'm Arshi Roy and today I'm here with Michael Fantom.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm from New England First. I'm the director of New England First.
So as the executive director of New England First, what is your day-to-day life?
So, Archie, thank you for finding time to speak with me. I am the executive director of New England First, as many of you may know, and my job is I wear many hats. One of them is working with different states and departments of education and government departments to promote the advocacy of STEM learning in the 6 states of New England, either bringing states together or at a state level. So we've, over the past 5 years, we've formed individual state entities. So a first in Rhode Island, a first in Massachusetts. We already have a first New Hampshire. So state entities are important, as well as our district New England entity. I spend time speaking to superintendents of schools, trying to persuade them that FIRST is a good idea. I'm speaking to teams. I have a team of senior mentors that I spend time with on a regular basis, finding out what's going on in the community, understanding ways to grow our programs. What else do I do on my day-to-day work? I have to raise money. I have a budget that I have to manage. So I'm always exploring sponsorship opportunities, partnership opportunities, ways to promote FIRST and STEM in whatever creative way. Like 2 weeks ago, I was at Hammond Castle. So Google Hammond Castle Museum. It's up in Gloucester, Massachusetts. So John Hammond was an inventor, and he built this castle on the water in Gloucester. So he was a STEM guy. And he died 1 million years ago. The curatorial staff at Hammond Castle Museum want to run STEAM programming. They want to encourage young people to come to their venue. Yeah. And there's a team in Manchester by the Sea, an FRC team in Manchester by the Sea. There's a FRC team in Ipswich. So I'm exploring sort of the north shore of Mass as to how can we bring teams together with the community. So I spend a lot of time trying to imagine who is interested in our world and how can we partner to promote our world that helps their world. And so I'm always looking for ideas. So if any of you have ideas of how we can promote this approach, then I'm all ears.
What you do is amazing. New England First is a big community and it's so great being together with all these people who have similar interests and thoughts. And thank you for all you do. It's really amazing.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
So a lot of us started our FIRST journey in different ways. What got you into FIRST?
So way back in the day, I was a teacher. I started off as a teacher. So I have a degree in education, so I have an interest in pedagogy, and I've worked my whole adult career in some form of youth development. And so when I merged my last organization, which was the Ronald McDonald House, I found FIRST, and I've been at FIRST in New England for over 5 years, which is wild because it feels like a week. And so it's been a big journey for me.
I'm sure, yeah. So where do you see First going in the future years?
So one of my goals is to sustain the teams that we have. So we have, at the FRC level in New England at the moment, we have 200 teams. And I want to see growth of those 200, but more importantly, I don't want to see any decline. So if a new team comes on, we have to work really hard to support that new team as a community to keep those new teams. So we need to grow teams, but we need to sustain the teams, and then we need to grow our volunteer community. So after the team growth, the next important piece is growing our volunteer base, because we put on a lot of events, we have a lot of teams, and we need volunteers and mentors to help us.
Yeah, I agree. We're so grateful for our volunteers, and it's amazing seeing all the rookie teams here today.
Yes.
One thing I wanted to add on about volunteering and volunteers is that we love them, obviously. They're working very hard on the field. I think everybody may already know that they can volunteer through the First website. Just sign up and, you'll be ready for the event. You can volunteer at the event. You could do field stuff, photography, media, reffing, all the stuff like that. But you also need to look out for opportunities during your competition, because when we were at Western New England a couple weeks ago, this year's game Rebuild is really hard to feel.
During field reset, there's just a lot that goes into it. So they were really short on volunteers needed there.
Yeah.
So we just sent some of our free members who were weren't scouting or weren't in pit, and they had the free time, so they were like, sure, we'll help out. And it was great. The field resetting process went by so much faster, and everybody there was so grateful for this little act of kindness that we put out.
Yeah, and it was for a good amount of matches, but it's they had to go on a lunch break, and it's obviously we need to give them a break. They've been working hard all day, but we sent some of our kids out there. They got their shirts, and it was just an impromptu thing. One of the admin people are yeah, we need more volunteers. So we just threw our kids out there. We're hey, take these ones. And then also last year at, I want to say the Hartford event, but I cannot remember.
It was WNE last year too.
Was it really?
It was.
All right, it was one of the events last year, but one of the mentors from Buzz Robotics, she was doing photography for the event, and she was running low on photographers. She was the only one there. So she came up to our mentors, and she's like, hey, do you have any kids that can low-key just help me with photography? And so this was just at the competition, by the way. This wasn't beforehand, but this is at the competition. And me and my friend, we were we had the time, so we just switched out. We had our we got the shirts there at the event, and we just used our own cameras here at 195, and then we took pictures for the event and just sent them to her later. But volunteering can be impromptu. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to sign, yeah, you do have to sign up beforehand, but check around, ask your mentors, hey, do you think they need help or anything like that? Because especially with this game and field reset, finding volunteers is a little rough.
And it's so grateful. You have to be mindful that these people are taking their day and spending their free time to be there, to be with these kids who are having fun at this competition. And they could be doing many other things, but they're going through the effort to make sure this event runs smoothly. So it's important to be grateful for them. So always have in mind to be nice and respectful to the volunteers.
Yes, we really appreciate our volunteers, like Arshi said in the video.
Our next question is, how have you seen FRC teams evolve throughout the years?
So one of the encouraging things that I've noticed in the longer term FRC teams, the teams that sustain and are well established, it's just their broader outreach and desire to reach out to the community, whether it is to train rookies or engage more mentors or volunteers. They're in my own interpretation, they're perhaps less prone to want to win everything. There's more of a desire to just be a good community partner.
So FIRST is a program that we have global. So how do you think teams need to change and evolve on a local level, at statewide level, and at a national level?
So I think depending on the outreach for volunteers and the sustainability of the teams, going back to my last answer, if teams are struggling, they may have to come together. So there's a number of schools working together. The communities need to understand where the volunteers are coming from, and there's a funding piece. So if a school does not want to run the program, for example, but there is a team there and that team is going to go away, can another school take it on, or do they become a community team? So I do think that the community has to support the existing teams and understand what their potential threats are. That works at the local level. It also works at a state level. We've got a number of advocacy initiatives ongoing in different states in New England, which hopefully will bring in some, through legislative bills, some robotics funding. It certainly has worked in Connecticut. We're looking at it in Rhode Island. There's a bill in session in Massachusetts. It's been sitting there for a couple of years. So I think state funding and Department of Education funding are going to be critical to the sustainability and the longevity of these teams going forward at local and state. At the global level, I do not have any comments.
So an example of broadening your outreach is in Southington. We're based in Southington, Connecticut, right? And we help mentor and we provide materials to 21 or 24 FLL teams in our town itself. But last year, there were a couple of teams in Bristol, Connecticut that needed help getting started up, a couple of FLL teams specifically. So we provided some mentors, we provided materials to them, and we helped them get started up. And that's how you broaden your outreach. You see if other towns need help. Start small. Start in your town first. And then you start to reach out. And then with those Bristol teams, we don't currently mentor them now, but we help them get started and we've paved the path for them. So that's also that aspect of sustainability that he was talking about, where not only do you have to start these teams, you have to continue them, because I know, like, for FLL teams, beginning of the season, millions of emails sent out to these teachers and principals like, hey, we want to continue this FLL team. Hey, we want to continue this FLL team. So reaching out to not only your community but other communities, and then also making sure that you're staying in contact is how you're going to actually achieve that broadening outreach that Fantom mentioned.
Yeah, adding on to what Sandra was saying, it's important that you don't just leave these teams once they become self-sustaining. We still provide mentorship and resources for these teams to help them keep going. And it may seem hard with all the funding aspects of it, but do fundraisers. We have Shake a Can and events like that to help raise money for our FLL and FRC events. So start where you can.
Yeah, get creative with your fundraising. Get creative, because not only are we funding our own team, we're funding our FTC teams, and then we're also funding our FLL teams. And actually, if you haven't heard already, FLL is getting more expensive next year. The cost of kits are going up because they're incorporating all this new technology. They're including AI and stuff in the kits. So the price is going up. So find different ways to fundraise. We do, like Arshi mentioned, Shake a Can, where we go outside of our local bagel shop and shake a can, I guess. Yeah, we also do a Applebee's fundraiser, serving pancakes to our community. We have people buy tickets. People also do calendar fundraisers. I think those are my favorite and one of the easiest fundraisers to do, because all you got to do is ask around. Just ask parents, ask teachers, hey, you got any extra gift cards laying around? And you'll end up having enough to have a full month for a calendar. So calendar fundraisers are great. Anything else?
We do a lot of raffle baskets throughout the year, so that's
Yeah, we
always
do.
a great way.
Just at like you make like you have that supportive community. You have your parents, you have the mentors, your students, friends of students, and if you just ask around, just be like, "Hey, we kind of need you guys to donate some materials so we can make a raffle basket and then like sell raffle tickets and stuff like that so people can win it and raise money for our team." Just ask around. We put it in our weekly emails, but we also make sure to establish it at our weekly meetings where the parents are. So reach out.
And like if you're struggling, you could try reaching out to your Board of Ed communities. Our Board of Ed is very supportive of us, so it's important to get yourself out there so people know about you in your town because sometimes it's hard to get that recognition. But like our members are so supportive. They come to our kickoff event at the Municipal Center every year and they come to watch some of our competitions and they're just so supportive and you can get that help from them if you just go through the effort to reach out to them.
Episode 2, Chris Poulis, state representative. He came to our kickoff event and he did a whole speech and everything. We also have Colleen Clark, another member on the Board of Ed, right? She is our biggest fan. She comes out to our buses and she cheers for us. And literally at our kickoff event, she's the most hype person there. I swear. Like, we're all excited for the game. She's excited for all of us combined.
Oh yeah, and I go to like the Board of Ed meetings every month and she's always asking me like the updates, like how's the robot going, how's the team, and she's planning on coming to our DCMP event, so hopefully we'll see her there.
Hopefully. Yeah, but like Arshi mentioned, we actually have 2 students on our team that are student representatives in the Board of Ed. So we have Arshi and then we have another member. And it's a nice connection with our government because, like Fantom mentioned earlier, broaden your outreach. So yeah, we started within the school's FLL teams, having an FLL team at our library. But then you got to go out more. And you got like things like your local apple harvest parade. Like we participate in that. And then we also expanded out to our government through these connections. So establishing good connections like that, best way to go to broaden your outreach. I would know, coming from the impact team.
So on topic with the ice cream served today here at the University of Vermont, if New England First was the ice cream flavor, what do you think it would be?
So I have to say it would be Cherry Garcia.
Ooh.
And I say that because they don't have Cherry Garcia today, and it is my favorite flavor. And so I've been thinking about Cherry Garcia for about an hour now, ever since I found out they didn't have it. So that's what comes to mind. New England First is Cherry Garcia.
Yeah. I've never had it, but I might have to try it now.
It's a good one.
All right, Cherry Garcia. I mean, any first. So that was Michael Fantom's Cyber Side Chat question. Now, since Arshi is our first ever co-host on this podcast, I'm going to ask her a different question that I think would be fun. Arshi, if you were the one to come up with the idea for next year's first theme, what idea would you come up with?
Well, my favorite game so far has been Crescendo. So going with like that music theme, I would love to do a Leve theme game. She is my favorite artist, so definitely biased to that. But she has like cool songs that I think we could like incorporate into the field elements. And so yeah, that would be my game if I had to create one.
All right, I have no clue. First, if you're listening, I don't know, like, we've got some good ideas cooking up in here.
What about you, Sandra? If you would have to do a theme, what would it be?
I was actually thinking about this earlier because obviously, like, I had to come up with a question.
Mm-hmm.
A sports theme. I literally have the list pulled up, but I have no clue if we've done this in the past, but a sports theme and like each level, like FLL, FTC, FRC is a different sport related. Like, I don't know how they would do it because I'm not the one that comes up with the games, but I think a sports related one would be cool. And then also in one of the interviews, we also didn't get this on video, but Michael Fantom, he was like, he wants to see more games where like cooperation has to happen, where teams have to work together. And I think a sports game is where it's at, because half of these games like require that teamwork rather than people having like individual roles. Like it's like required for robots to both be working like together. I don't really know how they would do it. I just know Fantom wanted it, and I was like, well, this is like the perfect idea for it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
We are very grateful for our FIRST programs here in New England, but how do you think FIRST can play a role in helping in areas that are underserved?
So I think the example in Connecticut can be translatable into other states in the United States, in that the governor indicated that the funding needs to go to the alliance districts. So the funding has to go to areas where there are less support for STEM programs or STEAM programming. The challenge is, one of the reasons why there are less STEAM programs is there might not be the industry in the area, there might not be the manufacturing base, or there might not be the support to find technical mentors, or there's a different focus on a day-to-day basis in terms of student commitments, student after-school commitments, parental after-school commitments. So I think FIRST has a significant role to play in encouraging the mentor base to be involved in communities that are less served for STEAM programming. And I talk often about FIRST being a mentoring program. So if you look at, say, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and how many students there are in a particular state and how many mentors there are, the number of hours that mentors put in to the programming is phenomenal. I can't actually give you data. I would like to find data. I'll come back to you with data of the number of hours that mentors are putting in on a weekly basis. So that quality relationship between students and mentors, whether it's technical mentors, whether it's emotional mentoring, whether it's just community mentoring, is really valuable. So I do strongly believe that the FIRST programs have a place to play in broadening the STEAM programming in less STEAM served communities where there's less of a curriculum for STEAM. And that is, it's almost like a piece of homework in a way. And I know teams have done this in the past, or tried to work with other communities, and it is part of the pipeline. So like the K-8 programming through to FTC, through FRC, is all part of a pipeline that FRC teams are taking a lead on.
For sure. Yeah, as a student on an FLL team and then an FTC team myself, it was great seeing like the bonds I made throughout the way and my experiences and how they brought me to 195 and this FRC team. And so grateful for our mentors. They dedicate countless hours and we're here because of them. So special shout out to them. So during our interview with Mr. Fantom, we weren't able to get this on recording, sadly, but he brought up a really good point about having a balance on students and their roles on a team. He's talking about how like some people are very segregated in their teams, where like some people strictly stick to mechanical, and there's like the drive team, and then there's the outreach kids, and it shouldn't be like that. Everybody should be a part of everything. Like me, for example, I am on mechanical. I work on the robot. I was doing inventory like 2 seconds ago. And then I'm here recording a podcast. And it's good to have that balance. And all of our teams, or all of our students, are involved in outreach and fundraising and all of it. So it's really important that everybody is involved in everything instead of just like separating ourselves.
Yeah, I think some people think that like because there's only 3 kids presenting the impact presentation, like those are the only kids working on impact. Like, no. First of all, we've got a whole sub team back here, and then we actually have the activities, which our students do. Like, no, the business sub team does not run the entire STEAM for All event. It is all of the kids on the team. So you need everyone to get involved. And also, he mentioned like specifically like some students will be on the drive team and just stay on the drive team. They won't really like involve themselves with other stuff. But one of our members on our drive team is literally an impact presenter. So like Arshi mentioned, you have to have that nice balance between your team. And it's like, yeah, you got sub teams, but they have to work together. So in the end, we're all doing everything, really.
Yeah.
Well, we're not all driving the robot. That's Jack's problem.
And like if you want to explore and try out different sub teams, like go for it. We have so many students on our team that are part of like multiple sub teams. Like we have students that do CAD and mechanical because they go hand in hand, or like mechanical and electrical. So when like mechanical is not as busy, they can work on electrical, and like vice versa. So you don't have to strictly stick to one sub team. Like explore different branches.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about how it works on a lot of other teams. I know a lot of teams do have that sub-team aspect, but I think really incorporating the fact, like, let your students explore in their their first year or two here. Like, let them explore anytime throughout the season, because this is 2 years in a row where we've had a programming student be like, oh, I'm in my senior year. I kind of want to try out business to see, like, if I can develop new skills, like presenting skills, writing skills, creating graphics, stuff like that, taking photos. So we've had like a senior transfer over from the programming team to the business team senior year. It's never too late to try something new. So I just think it's a really good idea for teams to adopt the idea of like, okay, switch around,
Yeah.
try new things.
And it goes back to what like Fantom was saying about how like FIRST helps you create STEM skills, and not just in like a specific area, but many different skills. And so it goes back to how it can help you out in your real world experience. So you are a legend across the FIRST community. So what is one of your most proudest moments, and why?
Well, that's very generous. I would say, and this is Connecticut related, although my territory is from Maine to Connecticut and then across to Western Mass. But one of my proudest moments is getting a proposal in front of the Connecticut Governor's Office, which ultimately landed at the Manufacturing Initiative Innovation Fund, and they in turn funded all of FIRST teams in Connecticut for a lot of money and continue to do it. So we're in the third year of funding for the MIF money, and I'm just super proud that we can fund all of the registration for FRC teams in Connecticut, whether it's FRC, FTC, and FLL. So super proud of that.
That's really impressive. Thank you. So what is one piece of advice you would offer to all of us in the FIRST community?
So the concept of gracious professionalism and cooperation are real concepts in my mind. They truly are important. I see them enacted every day when I'm at FRC events and at FTC events and FLL events. I think it's critically important. Another thing I'd love to share, or I'd love to ask you to do, is stay in contact with us. So we have you for 4 years, maybe 5 years, and then you disappear. And we love you, and we want to stay with you, and we want to know where you go when you go off post 12th grade. Because at the moment, you hit senior in high school and you disappear, and we're really interested. And I know your team might know where you are, but we've got hundreds of teams. I want to know where all of you are, so I can go back to a school and say, you've got 35 FIRST students at your school. That's a big deal. Let's run an event together. Yeah. So it's all about me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, FIRST has a great impact for kids interested in the STEAM field, and it's really great to see how far FIRST can help us in the real world.
Yeah, so like Fantom mentioned, there is nothing stopping you from coming back to the FIRST robotics field once you leave high school. I don't know how many mentors we have, but there's a handful of them that were on the team when they were in high school, and now they're fully grown, and they're still here outside in the shop right now. And we also have alumni that just graduated like last year, 2 years ago, that are coming back for winter break, April break. One of our alumni from UConn is literally here at almost every single competition that we have, and it's like he never left. It's like he never left, and he's always here. And I literally saw him the other day at UConn when I was on a tour, and I was like, man, this is probably the first time I've actually seen him outside of robotics. So nothing's stopping you from coming back and helping your own team. And it doesn't even have to be your team. I know that we had a mentor that originally came, actually,
We have multiple mentors from like other teams.
other teams that helped us out and then kind of went back to their own team. So they're like hippity hoppiting around, but they're still volunteering with First. You can still stay involved with First. And like Fantom said, like, don't disappear after high school. Come back.
And like if you want to continue in college, come back, volunteer at an event. Like one of my favorite refs, she's in college right now and she volunteers at like every single one of our events. And like many colleges have like a First program. Like I know UConn has a First club. WPI has like many connections related to First because they literally mentor an entire team. Shout out 190. So it's like incredibly possible. Like if you had the free time and you like it, then come back because we want you.
Any First loves you. Come back.
So as we're coming to an end, do you have any parting advice for our listeners here today on our podcast?
So I would say you're incredibly fortunate to have a group of really passionate mentors around you as a student body. And I'm talking as students, as K-12 students first. Use your mentors wisely. Listen to their sage advice. They know stuff. Ask them questions. Ask them the hard questions. For the mentors, I just want you to understand how valuable your contributions are to our community, and also what can you get from the students, because what you're going to see is the investment, the value you're putting into these students, they're going to repay you tenfold because they're going to be successful young adults, and you should be super proud of what you've contributed to their future.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fantom, for your advice today. It was great having you on this podcast. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So that is all the recording we have from UVM. Arshi, do you have any parting words for our listeners today? Anything, any advice at all? I know we asked Mr. Fantom, but gotta ask you, of course.
Keep listening. We love to have listeners on our podcast. I love talking. Sandra loves talking. And it's great reaching to people outside of Southington, Connecticut. Like, there's only so many people here, and we need more people from around the world. So please listen. Take the advice that you can get. Comment ideas for future podcast ideas. And thank you for having me here.
All right. I'm so glad that you could come on this episode. Unfortunately, we have to end at some point. We can't just, like, as much as I love talking, we got to stop at some point. But like Arshi mentioned, make comments, and you can do that on our social media at FRC Team 195 on Instagram, FRC Team 195 The Cyber Knights on Facebook, and you can check out our website, team195.com, where we have our Nightline 24/7 live chat service. So if you have any questions, especially about the podcast, just hit up our Nightline. It's available 24/7, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. If you also have any questions, comments, concerns, or you want to actually be featured on the podcast, you can email us at our email, business@team195.com. I'm Chandra,
I'm Arshi.
your hosts, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Night Chat, first on air, and see you next episode.